Well, I'm joined on Absolutely Famous today by our regular rugby analyst, former Marlborough Red Devils and King Country loose forward Greg Brimble, direct from Brim's Bar in beautiful Nowra on the New South Wales coast. Brims, how you going, mate?
Yeah, going good, Johnny. I've got my bar finished off, and I haven't got much else to do apart from work down here because we don't know too many people. So most of my time is spent out in the bar, lubricating, watching rugby, and preparing for interviews with John Alexander. so this is my sort of home away from home out here, but it's all complete, mate, and looking forward to watching a bit more rugby out here instead of watching it in an empty shed.
Yeah, no, it looks magnificent. Well, Brims, of course, we're here to discuss the All Blacks, shambles really, at 1825 loss to Argentina. That's the fourth out of six in 2022, the sixth from eight, dating back to last November. And I would suggest to you, this is the biggest crisis in the history of All Black rugby.
Yeah, and you're correct too, John. I was thinking about exactly that yesterday and this morning. The 25% success rate in the last 8 tests. I mean, that's unacceptable by anybody's standards, by any team's standards. That's not an acceptable result. And the first time ever in 119 years of rugby history in New Zealand that the All Blacks have lost 3 consecutive tests at home. I mean, this is unthinkable and unbearable and quite frankly not acceptable, John. By this proud rugby nation who have set very, very high expectations for their national team, and you know what it's like in New Zealand. It's as much as they say leave the players and that alone, and we don't know, the blokes sitting on the sideline don't know. Well, I'm afraid it's different in New Zealand because we do know a little bit, and we've all got ownership of that team. It's like the country owns that team, and it's almost when they hurt, we hurt. When they lose, we lose. And it's just not acceptable. And there's so many things to talk about, and there's so many things wrong at the moment that it's just it's unfathomable, mate. That we're in this situation a year out from a Rugby World Cup, and we don't know what we're bloody doing. Simple as that. We're bereft of ideas, mate.
Exactly right. Now, you and I both said weeks and months ago, Ian Foster and Sam Cane had to go. They're not fit for purpose. Okay, I don't doubt they're terrific blokes. In Kane's case, a fabulous rugby player, a tough man, but he's a broken man. He's not the player that he was anywhere near it. He should have gone. Foster should have gone. I think there's just a whole big disconnect in New Zealand rugby from top to bottom. There's something really seriously wrong with the whole setup.
Well, there is, John, and never before has there been a split or a rift or a giant chasm of difference between, and like you say, disconnect between New Zealand rugby and the team and the public and the rugby public of New Zealand. It's just everything is working in individual silos of its own. None of the pieces that quite frankly aren't working properly anyway are working together. So it's like having a business and one department doing this, not talking to the other department, and everyone waiting for the other department to do something. But you can't, because they're not intrinsically linked together to give you that overall result. And I think that's become really, really obvious lately. I mean, Mark Robinson, who's completely out of his depth as chairman of the New Zealand Rugby Union, I mean, he's completely lost it. He's done so much damage to the brand. Silver Lake, who have valued the New Zealand rugby at 3.5 billion, must be regretting their investment. Their investment now. Allegedly, the deal was that New Zealand rugby must return a 9%, incremental growth in their net profit. Now, I can't see that happening at any level because it's on a downward spiral at the moment. There's more likely to be 29%, loss, going backwards in this. It's just not. Yeah, it's just terrible, mate. And I mean, it started in the back rooms, started in the boardrooms there with some pretty ordinary decisions regarding coaching. It's transpired to the selection table where there's just frankly puzzling selections happening at the moment, and on the field with performances, it's just there's disconnect within that team, John, within the playing group and the management and coaches. There's disconnect within there. You can see it. Just yeah.
Well, between Mark Robinson, the CEO, and previous chairman Brent Impey, they've managed to alienate South Africa, Australia. The Super Rugby's a disaster. It's nothing like it was. The NPC, I don't even think they know what they're doing with that. They're not quite sure about that. And as you say, the All Black thing. I mean, you talk about the All Black selection. On Saturday, it was bizarre. I mean, the team itself, I didn't agree with the original selection, but the use of the subs bench or the non-use of the subs bench, when you bring a guy on, Stephen Perifetta, for 50 seconds, you've got Tupou Vai, an outstanding young lock, doesn't even get on the field. What is that?
Mate, I can't. That was one of the most puzzling things to me. That was the substitution process in that game on the weekend. I agree entirely. Now, if I was Stephen Perifetta, I would, and that could possibly be the only 50 seconds of All Blacks rugby he ever plays. I would rather not say that I've been an All Black than being an All Black for 50 seconds, brought in at the death as a token gesture to just make you feel like you're part of the team. And I spoke 2 weeks ago to you about the way they were handing out All Black jumpers as well. And I know this is just another example of this. And I hate to say it, but this new age, politically correct, woke, soft cock, bloody attitude, towards handing out All Black jumpers, just annoys me, mate. And it must annoy players of the past that have worked so hard to wear that jumper as well. Now, nothing against Stephen Perifetta, who's had a fantastic Super Rugby season and by all accounts is a terrific young man. But why? Just why? I don't understand it. The other puzzling thing to me with the substitutes, John, was 44 minutes into the game, we've replaced our front row. Now, Ethan de Groot was having another blinder. We were totally dominating an Argentinian scrum, and now like we've never done before. And we all know that the Argentines have pride in their scrummaging. If there's two things in this world they can do, it's eat meat and scrummage, and they do both of them very bloody well. But we destroyed their scrum, absolutely poleaxed their scrum. Samisoni Takiaho, who was easily head and shoulders our number one hooker now, and having a storming game along with Terrell Lomax in the front row, we've taken them off at 44 minutes into the game, and 36 minutes left to play to bring on the so-called bomb squad or the finishers. And I don't get that at all. And you can see what happened when Cody Taylor replaced Samisoni Takiaho. The lineouts absolutely just turned to crap straight away. That was a disaster. Cody Taylor, who I have rated and 2 years ago thought he should have been named as the All Black captain. He has just gone. His confidence is so down at the moment. He's missing his line-out throws. He's ineffective around the field. He's not pulling his tackles off. He's not contributing to that team. And you can't say Dane Coles is any better. He's the highest paid water boy in the world at the moment. I don't get it, John. I just don't get that substitution process.
No, it's crazy, and there's a lack of direction. There was a lack of direction from the so-called leadership group, and I think, as well as the whole thing needs a clean out. A new coaching, they've blown the opportunity they had to do that this year, but the leadership group, Brims, is just not fronting up, and I think for this weekend, they've got to completely change the team, bring in all the young blokes, give them a go. Sam Whitelock's got to have a rest. Sam Cane's got to be out of the team. Aaron Smith, not on the 23. And that's just the start of it, really. And Geordie Barrett out of the 23 as well. And get Will Jordan back at fullback where he can do some serious damage.
Yeah, well, I agree with you on your selections there as well, John, and the changes that you envisage. But if we go back to that actual game on Saturday, all right, that was like death by 1,000 cuts watching that, wasn't it? It was,
especially the second half.
It was like watching a train in slow motion barreling down the tracks towards a bridge that wasn't there, and you could see what was happening, and you're hoping that the train's gonna pull up in time, but you can't stop it. It's like one of those really bad nightmares, and you're sitting there watching it and you're going, no, this can't. No, they'll pull up shortly. No, they'll fix this, and time goes on, and slowly they clawed their way. Argentina clawed their way back into the game, courtesy of the boot of Buffelli, who had a fantastic game, kicked 6 penalties and a conversion. Like he was terrific. But you go back to Ellis Park and that victory in the second test, and a fantastic win at Ellis Park at altitude, and we've seen the light at the end of the tunnel, that beacon of hope for the All Blacks, that light at the end of the tunnel. Has turned out that it really was a train coming towards us. And it was a train coming towards us, an Argentinian train, with a big face of Pablo Matera right on the front of it, and it burst onto Orange Theory Stadium on Saturday as it emerged out of the darkness and destroyed the All Black team. It was unbearable watching that game, and I mean you just felt so sorry, didn't you? It was so disappointing, and you sat there almost in tears watching it go on and wishing you could help, but nobody could help. Nobody had any ideas. It was like that American Pie song. It was like the day the music died, but it was like the day New Zealand rugby died. Its soul destroyed at the hands of the Argentinian side. And there's a line in that song of as the players took the field, the marching band refused to yield. Well, that marching band was Pablo Matera, Crema, Montoya, Sanchez, as they just took it to the All Blacks and left us in this position we are now. And that brings us now to that line in the sand that you were just saying, John. What do we do now? What happens now? We've committed to Foster. I don't know if I personally still don't think it's too late to punt him.
No, I don't either. Never too late.
There's still I don't know, 11 or 12, 10 or 11 test matches before Rugby World Cup next year. Now that's enough for someone to get in there, make some changes, and affect a difference. But what you were saying is changes need to be made now. And what are those changes for the second test in Hamilton this weekend? And I think you touched on a number of them then. I'd bloody near change the whole team apart from the front row. And because I think we've got the right front row at the moment, the right starting front row, and I think we've got the right subs with the exception of Cody Taylor. We just need to find another hooker in there. But Sam Whitelock, I don't know, mate. I'd stick with Scott Barrett because he just works so hard. He's the right age. I don't know whether Brodie Retallick's going to fix it. Sam Kane's got to go. I agree with you entirely. Artie's got to go to the open side and take over as captain. Nuggy, Aaron Smith played his 100th test on the weekend, but mate, I just think we need a breath of fresh air there, and Finlay Christie and Folau Whakatava. I think I'd go with them, mate. Moanga run for 90 odd metres, the most metres of any player in that test match on the weekend. You've probably got to stick with him. I can't see a replacement for Havili. I don't know if there's anyone better than Havili at the moment. But Havili and Rieko Ioane, we tried to bash our way through that Argentinian defence because we had no other ideas. We just tried to smash our way through it, and they were just up for the task. They made twice as many tackles as New Zealand. That's the only stat apart from the scoreboard stat that they come out on top of.
Yeah.
It's defence wins games, and I know I'm going on, mate, but I'm so passionate about this. They've got to give Will Jordan a crack at fullback. He's got to go to fullback. Caleb Clark, no, sorry, see you later. He's a good, Lester Whanganuku and Sevu Reece. Get him back on there. Get Will Jordan at fullback. We need to be injecting Will Jordan into that back line to create space. And he's as good under the high ball as Geordie Barrett. He can't kick those 60-metre penalties. Well, neither can Barrett on the weekend. But there's got to be those changes, mate. I agree 100%.
But David Havili can kick the 60-metre penalties. You forget about that. He's a long-range goal kicker. And one of the most confusing things and annoying things for me afterwards when Foster came out and whinged about the Argentinian work at the breakdown. What the hell's he on about? And Michael Cheika was quite right, the Argentinian coach, to laugh and say, well, you should know, you've been an expert at it for years. And that's where we're ineffective. We're ineffective there because we've got Sam Cane there who's not a presence.
Well, can we? I mean, as if it's not bad enough losing to Argentina at the moment in the position that we're in, we've Michael Cheika coaching them. Like that's twisting the knife when it's been stuck up under your rib cage, isn't it? It's giving that knife a twist and really making sure it just digs into the bottom of your pierces the bottom of your heart to make sure that it's really, really painful with Michael Cheika. But
don't forget David Kidwell either, Brims, the defence coach. Good Christchurch-born boy.
They got a bloody leaguey in there showing them how to defend, and obviously he had a big impact on it.
Good luck to them. They did really well. Great coaching performance.
Yeah, fantastic coaching performance, and congratulations to Michael Cheika as well. That's the first Test match he's ever won in New Zealand, so he's rightly pretty happy about it. But he did make that comment. You're quite right that we should know. We've been doing it for years. Richie McCaw mastered the art of playing to the line and did so legally. And it really annoys me, John. It really annoys me when we take the shine off a fantastic Argentinian performance and we intimate that they're cheating in some way. They weren't. We weren't good enough to defend against them, and we weren't good enough to counter them at the breakdown because they turned as many breakdown twice as many breakdown balls over as we do. They're much more effective at the breakdown as South Africa was. So we've got an issue at the breakdown there, and it's the other. I mean, Foster says a lot of puzzling things at the moment, but one of his comments was our problem. It's good. Our problem solving seems to be getting better.
Yeah, I'm not sure where that comes from.
I don't get this, all this fluff that they talk about. It's a learning experience. We're growing as a team. We're looking forward, excited about the challenge, and we're improving our decision making. How about you just hold on to the bloody ball, and pass it and make your passes stick and bloody tackle. I mean, it's not rocket science playing rugby. Jimmy Love once said to me, the great James Hector Poramani Love. He said rugby's a simple game. A simple game made difficult by 15 idiots. I mean, never a truer word said. I mean, God, it's just, yeah. But yeah, good on Michael Checker, and he did twist it into stick it into Ian Foster as well, when he commented that Pablo Matera is like 3 times the footballer he was after spending a season under Razor Robertson's guidance with the Crusaders. So I mean, if that's not bad enough, you give Razor Robertson a big pat on the back for developing the bloke that almost single-handedly destroyed the All Blacks on the weekend.
Well, you look at their leadership too. I mean, Julian Montoya, their captain and hooker, what a player! And as you say, surrounded by Matera and the other Lucy's and the wonderful goal kicking from winger Buffali. It was a fabulous performance from Argentina.
It really was, and it's we need to give them credit for that, and need to start, I suppose, all the talks about New Zealand and the position they're in at the moment, and what they're going to do about it, and a lot of discussion around Foster and Kane's future, but credit has to be given to the Argentinian side, who are no slug side. They walloped Australia a couple of weeks ago, destroyed Australia. They're sitting at the top of the Rugby Championship table, and rightly so, I might just say. And they could be a smoky at the World Cup next year as well. And the old saying about the Argentinians not travelling well, they've sorted that out. They might have forgotten how to scrimmage, but they've certainly remembered how to win games and remembered how to travel. So I mean, yeah, they were terrific. And that the number 7, the big number 7, the Lucy, the open side flank for them.
Kremer, yeah. Marcus Kremer, wonderful player.
What a game he had. Him and Pablo Matera, between them, I think between the two of them, they ran half the metres of the Argentinian side in total, and they were just terrific. I can't wait to see them again this weekend. But what team are they going to come up? What changes are they going to make? Are they just going to stick with the same old? Because as long as Foster's there, I reckon Kane's there, John. I don't think that's going to change.
Oh.
Foster's obviously there for the rest of the championship, but what if we lose the Bledisloe?
Not what if. We could very well lose the Bledisloe. The way Australia played in the first test against Argentina over there, and last week against the Springboks, they are a team. They've got some lethal weapons.
Well, it's highly likely that we're saying, it's the end of an All Black era, fantastic era, holding the Bledisloe Cup for over 20 years. But that's quite likely. And what happens? I mean, do they renege on their decision to keep Foster? Do they pull back and they say, "Well, I'm sorry, we made another mistake. We've changed the coaching lineup." I don't know, John, but as I've said before countless times, if you keep on doing the same old, you're going to keep on getting the same results. And unfortunately, I think that's what we're doing at the moment. We're just repeating the same silly things over and over and over, and deserve to be the results that we're getting at the moment.
I think what we'll do, Brims, in the written part of this story, we'll list out you and my preferred teams for this Saturday, and we'll do it that way. And well, on a good note, of course, this magnificent bar and grill of yours in now there. Do you want to show the punters a little bit around it while we're in there?
Oh,
I've got the neon sign behind you there.
I don't know if it's that exciting, but I might be able to take you for a little. I don't know what the white's like.
Your old Club Opawa, former Club Opawa in Blenheim. You've got a bit of a corner there.
Well,
recognising some of the legends.
A little Opawa corner over here. Little spot there for you and me to sit at, Johnny, in the Opawa corner. A few photos up there. And a bit of All Black stuff and that I've
well done.
That I've picked up over the years and that, and of course the old French jumper there from 1984 when we played them.
Did you play against the French for Marlborough?
Yeah, 1984.
That's right.
Beaten 36-9 by France on Lansdowne Park.
Do you remember who you marked that day?
Yeah, I do actually. His name was funny you should say that, because that's his jumper, and his name was Jean Charles Orso.
Yep.
And he was his claim to fame. He was a dual international. He actually also played basketball for France. So anyway, that's his jumper. It's looking a bit rickety now, but
fantastic.
Just a bit of that's my little old Marlborough. I don't know if you can see that.
Yep, back in the Red Devils days.
Yeah, back in the old Red Devils days. There's a few Marlborough photos and things, and of course the
neon light.
The bar.
Oh, look at that. That's.
So that's where
you got it nailed there, mate.
That's where we're broadcasting from, mate.
There's a lot of rugby intellect behind that bar.
Yeah, so I can't wait to get you and Colombo down here, and we can have a panel discussion or something, mate, on it.
Our management are onto it. Oh yeah, our wives. Yeah. That's awesome, Brims. That's awesome. Right. Yeah. Thanks for your expertise again, and we hope, probably against hope, that the All Blacks can resurrect their careers and just the team in general. Bounces back and makes us all proud again.
Well, let's pick our winning 23s for this Saturday. I'm sure mine will vary completely from the one they come up with, and
mine too.
Who knows what they're going to come up with, mate? I mean, anything could happen. I don't know. You could see Kieran Crowley at fullback or something. I don't bloody know, geez. But we've got to do something, mate. We've got to do something. So.
Yeah. All right, mate. Have a good week, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, mate. It's a pleasure.
Thanks, Brims.
See ya.